Hey guys, Terry here. Hey, I am trying to finish up my Queen of Diamonds quilt. Let me show you here on the wall. So I have laid my pieces out. They're actually hanging on my curtain in my master bedroom here. We've got windows up there, but these are the curtains, and I've hung it on there. And you know what? It's really striking that it's on black. So I couldn't decide whether I wanted to have a white border or a black border. So what I'm thinking is, I'm going to do um, a strip of black. I have not attached my Mick Jaguar yet. I really didn't like that fabric. Might use it on the back. Um, so I'm really liking the black. So I've seen some people putting a black sashing between the diamonds. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these, and I'm just going to sew a little, maybe 1.5 inch strip of black, maybe smaller, and put that on there. I've got to keep in mind that there's a 3/8 inch, if you use the templates that uh, Free Spirit had. If you use those templates, it's a 3/8 inch border on here, or seam allowance. So I'm going to cut the black, sew one up, see what I think of it. And then, yeah, I'm thinking of replacing the Mick Jaguar with the black. So let me give this a try and see what one looks like. Okay, I've decided to use black as my trim pieces around my diamonds. I really think the black is going to make the neon colors pop. So the pattern calls for you using the Mick Jaguar. And, you know, it's personal taste, right? So I think they suggested in the pattern to cut this to 2 inches. I've cut it to 1.5 inches simply because I want that just to be an outline. So it'll come down when we do the 3/8 inch on this, it'll come down closer to between 3/4 of an inch and an inch wide. So I like that about it. So I've cut my strips. I've cut a bunch of them. And I'm calling this the fixing stage because what you're going to do is you're going to put this on your piece. Now remember to, we're putting right sides together, and we are going to leave enough room here because this has to get, when this gets ironed, it'll be flipped this way, okay? So leave plenty of room there. They say to leave as much, as wide as your strip is. Leave that, and then I leave room for air. So do that, but then I'm simply going to pin this here. And, you know, we sewed up until these corner pieces here. So if there's any that are loose, I'm actually going to the sewing machine and giving this another stitch if they need be, because I don't want there to be a hole here. This part isn't sewn together, but we're going to do our stitching right here, right? So that's not a problem. But any areas where they're not laying flat, be sure to get these laying, you know, so they're all going to catch properly. So like here's one where I caught the threads when I was stitching. So I'm going to use my seam ripper here and bring out that little stitch so that I can iron this and make it be flat. See that? So you just want to make sure you're catching everything inside this 3/4 inch seam. Okay, I've ironed this flat, and then I've put some pins in. At first I thought I wasn't going to have to pin it. I thought that I could just line it up at the sewing machine, but it is really nice to do this when it's nice and flat, and then get that pinned. Don't stretch it, you know what I mean? Pull it taut, but don't stretch, and put the pins in place. And then over on my sewing machine, I have put some tape down so that I can follow this to make sure I'm doing the 3/8 inch. I've got a, this is a Janome machine, and I've got my 1/4 inch foot on there. So I wanted to make sure I was following the 3/8 inch. And the other thing that I'm doing is I'm laying it probably the wrong side. let me get this in here. So like I was saying, I'm laying this with the diamond side up. I mean, normally you would want the solid piece of fabric, I think, under your foot, but this way I'm able to go along here, make sure it's all following, and then making sure everything's flat and laying the right way. So I've got my needle down, and I'm going and I'm stopping where I need to and lifting the foot and making sure everything catches, you know, so that it's laying flat. So I found it easier to sew this direction than having it upside down. I did a couple upside down and I thought, I just don't know if I'm catching everything. So decided to do it this direction. So I don't know if you can see it here. Here's a spot where the foot has caught that. So because I have my needle down, I can pick up my foot, push that back down, put the foot down, and then it'll catch properly there. So, and then I can just make sure I'm following my tape. If it catches anywhere, I can, you know, adjust it. So it's working well. This is, I think I have 3 left of these. So I'm loving it, and I can't wait to see it together. Okay, so what I have been doing is sewing opposite sides on. So that was the one I showed you, and this was the one I previously did. So what will happen now is I'm going to press these. So just like in normal quilting, we're going to press these just to set that stitch. Right, good old quilting basics here. And then I'm going to fold that back. It's hard to do with one hand here. I should have my tripod set up. But anyways, I'm pressing this back. And then what I'll do next is I will take this over to my cutting table and I will trim these off. So notice, don't cut it here, right? Because when you open this up, you're actually going to go up this way. Okay, so you got to press this open before you cut anything. So let me get this pressed and then we'll take it to the cutting table. Okay, I've got it on the cutting table and I've got the these pressed open. You want to press them open because we're going to attach the next strip here. Okay, so I'm going to cut these with my rotary cutter, and then this piece here is long enough that this is going to be the piece that I use on this side, and then same on this side. We've got a long piece here. That'll be my piece that goes across this way. And there's actually enough left over that those are the pieces I'm using on the small triangles. Okay, there we go. We've got those pieces trimmed, and I'm ready to repeat what I did before. I'll lay the strip down, turn this over and pin it to it, and then I will press those open. So let me show you that. So I'll just mention here too, there's a couple places where I backstitch just for added support. So when I got to these spots here that just kind of had a little bit of, you know, we only sewed to that very edge. So you want to make sure you're doing a 3/4 inch seam and that you're catching all of that. So I just double stitched. I also, I had a point where not on this one, but on another one, I'll insert a picture here, where when I pressed this open, I could see a little hole. And I had to rip this out and just give that seam another little stitch to bring it up, further up into that 3/8 inch seam. And then I was able to iron it and re-stitch that. So just be careful. You don't want any holes in the quilts. But I'm loving how this is turning out. This is one of the first couple diamonds that I did, and it was amazing how much I caught the threads. I've mentioned that, but also I was using liquid glue, and that liquid glue just I later switched to the stick glue, and it was so much better because this liquid glue was, you could see the remnants of it. It was just really crazy how much it got on there. So I've got another little stitch here that I need to clip, and then I'll make sure I've got these laid out. The better you've got them laid out and pressed, the more likely you aren't going to have a little hole here where these seams are touching. So do that cleanup work now. And if you didn't do it while you were pressing, I did as good as I could when I was pressing. But there's just a lot of places that I just seem to have caught this. And it's probably because I didn't spend a lot of time making sure that I was, when we were folding it on the paper, I guess I didn't understand which way we were supposed to make the which flap got laid on which flap. I wasn't understanding that step, so I think this is the outcome of it, is I've just got some stuff here that I've got to fix. And it's just taken me a second, so I'm snipping that with the seam ripper and then pressing these. And then it's lining up beautifully on the edge here. So, it's looking great once I get it together. Okay, there it is. So let me show you, this is one of the diamonds. Let me show you one of the smaller triangles and also the side piece. So the pattern doesn't call for there to be a edge piece on these and on these, but I think because I'm doing the black on the edge, and then I'm also going to do a side sashing along the outside of the quilt, I just decided it was easier to put these pieces on, and I just think it's going to look more finished. So again, personal preference, right? But yeah, so I think I'm going to stop the video here, but hopefully I've given you those steps. I'm also going to outline the steps on my website too, and I'll have a link below to my website. But I just thought this was needed to show people how this border goes on very easily. I think it's really going to make the quilt come together, and all those little imperfections that you've been looking at and worried about. The quilt's going to look great when you get it all together and quilted. So, give yourself a break and just know that these are going to look great. Figure out what colors you want and what backing you want on the quilt. That way our quilts are all going to look a little bit different, right? We've personalized them. So enjoy. I hope your quilt's coming along great, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.